Am I calling you King Willonius?
Yeah. Can I use my internet name?
Yeah, what is it?
creatrgd.
I just have to try and not call you Eric. That's gonna be my struggle.
Yeah, BBL Drizzy.
BBL Drizzy. BBL Drizzy.
Popeyes want us to do a rap beef, dissing McDonald's. We leveraged some AI tools. That one kind of came out of nowhere. I found out Luther Vandross, he started his whole music career off of commercial music.
Yep.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Now I'm seeing like, okay, you know what? There's something to this.
And I remember praying like before I got there. I was like, God, please let me just have something pop off while I'm here, because like I just don't want to feel small. Literally the next day, Snoop Dogg posts my song, Metro Boomin posts BBL Drizzy. At Netflix's joke, they play BBL Drizzy. Everybody's like singing it and laughing, and nobody knows that I made it. God just chooses people to be a vessel, to kind of bring things to the world.
What you've done with BBL Drizzy is going to be stuff that people are going to point to, because out of that whole situation, you were the only one that was able to get publishing.
You need the BBL is bigger than me on a t-shirt.
Okay, that'll be the next thing I work on.
It just has to happen.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Ambition doesn't need permission. It just needs a seat at the table, and we brought our own. Welcome to the So Ambitious podcast.
creatrgd and King Willonius, welcome to the So Ambitious podcast.
Thank you for having us.
I know this guy, so I could do one of these.
Yeah.
Right.
Happy to be back with this guy. He's a genius.
All right, likewise.
All right, I love it. Well, we're gonna have a genius conversation then.
Let's go.
Hey.
So where I would like to start with the conversation, both of you took radically different approaches or kind of pathways to AI and music, right? I feel like non-traditional. And I think there's a lot to learn in the pathway, because not a lot of people take the traditional pathway and then just try and figure out later in life how to get to where you guys have gotten with AI and music, technology, and creativity. And so what do you both feel was like the turning point from you way back when?
Let me take this one, because I can remember to a moment. It's actually something we posted online. There was a moment where with Timbaland, we were working on some music, and I saw maybe like a preview of the progress that some of these platforms have made with making music. Mm-hmm. And you know, we've been finding some of the best musicians from across the world for the last 5 years on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok and Instagram, and hearing what humans can make, mm-hmm. and then hearing how close AI was coming to it. This was maybe almost 2 years ago now. Was scary. Yeah. It was like, uh-oh, I think they're on to something. And it was a video where Tim was like, he turned, we kept the phone hidden. We didn't even want to show people what it was. And we were like, yo, we just press play. And it was just like, oh my God. And Tim's reaction was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then all these people started reaching out because of that moment. But it was that moment where we kind of previewed where it was, that and Tim's reaction, someone like Tim's reaction, I think really kind of sealed it for a lot of people. So it was, I would say that was like a big turning point, was like when they were making full songs and the rap beats weren't corny rap beats, or like they weren't like the typical like pop sound, right. Or like, I don't know what was it like for you?
Well, I mean, there were a couple moments, but definitely when I first heard, I want to say it was sometime in 2023 when like the AI music models actually started sounding like people. Because, when they first dropped, they were robotic a little bit. So you make something and it was like, I mean, it's cool that it's making music, but you're not going to play this for anybody. But the writer strike was like, I think the big pivotal moment for me of just like really leaning into AI. So like once that happened, ChatGPT had dropped, and like, I was messing around Mid-Journey, but then it was just like, I don't know what else to do. So I'm gonna just completely lean into this AI stuff. Yeah.
But when both of you like start using the tools, or even just like, what is this? Did you hold it close to your chest? Did you feel a responsibility to be like, everybody that needs to know whether they understand what I'm saying? Because I think two things both of those things happen. And I think both of those define the person that is utilizing the tool, right, and the person that ends up sharing it with people and doing something with it. So which one do you feel it was in the beginning? Because I know you both share it widely.
For me,
now.
I think as a nerd, you find these new tools on the internet and you're like, oh, this is gonna help me do X better. Yeah. And you kind of want to get to the end of the rabbit hole before you want to say anything about it. Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of that. Like, so to your question, it is about there is a phase where you keep it to yourself. Yeah. Right. And I think it was actually before even the tools really started. There was more manual earlier on. Like it was a lot. It wasn't like, it's still not press a button. First off, to just dispel that notion, there is no press a button and get a great response. Yeah. It's still going to take a long amount of time and taste to get to something you're looking for. But earlier on, it was more manual, and we did this song that really broke the internet. And to the purists, they might be mad at me saying this, but that was the Timbaland Biggie song. Yeah. And that was the one where it was a Timbaland beat and Biggie's vocal over a rap verse that my boy did that we pitch shifted to sound like, you know, a Biggie voice. And that was definitely a process that nobody had ever seen of. And to your point, Will, you talked about like, you said something about maybe keeping it close to you or showing it to certain people. It was something that like, you couldn't actually publish the song. You would have gotten copyright stricken, you know, you gotta have to keep it to yourself. So we kind of treated it like an art piece, like, oh, hey, let's check out this cool thing. But it went through a phase of keeping it to yourself and just like surprising people. I think early days, like there was definitely like, oh, I'm gonna mess them up. Right. You know, I don't know if we can curse on here, but I'm gonna F them up. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it might be the kids. But, you know, and there's that element. So I think even still now, people don't really wrap their heads around it. And it's so bad that the F them up is like really making them mad. They're like, oh, wait, you did what? And to the musicians, to the artists, you know, people, any music creator, it's extremely scary because if you don't know what goes into it. So there's, I don't know if I succinctly said it, but.
I was very excited to like share with people, but like when I first got into AI, I was trying to teach people, specifically like Black people, about AI. When, you know, with Book Out Space, with the Center of Black Innovation, and like nobody would show up. So I was just like, oh, I'm wasting my time. So I was like, let me just pivot to like creating things. So I feel like the best way to maybe inspire people or get people excited about this is like inspire them and showing them what you can actually make with it. So when I think the very first AI song I made was called Suck My Toes. And it was a comedy song. And I was just like, all right, let me just see what these tools can do.
You got to talk about your genre, man. Because you got to tell them where that fits.
Yeah, I do comedy music. Yeah. So, you know, it was like a Motown, crazy. It was a Motown song. It was like this you know, Black woman telling, you know, her lover to suck her toes. And so that was like my first song. So I was like, let me just put this out and just see what people would say. And they was like, oh, this sounds amazing. And I was like, oh, it's AI. And so that was my introduction to it. But I like putting it out. I think comedy is an easy way that you can kind of like show people things, you know, and where it's not as like jarring, you know, like if it was maybe something political or whatnot, maybe there'd be a lot more resistance. But like, even like BBL Drizzy, because it was like a comedic song, it allowed people to kind of just take it in a little bit smoother than, you know, other mediums. Yeah.
When was the first time did you like in your body, like body physiology, right? Like how you just realize and accept that you were a creator? Because I feel like a lot of people, maybe a lot of Black people, kind of wrestle with that if they didn't grow up in the arts, right? But like, hey, I'm creating this thing. It feels good to me. People don't really understand it. But like at some point I own it. I don't know if that was in childhood. I don't know if that was like, well, when, I'm gonna start with you, Creator God, and then go to Will. But when did you like own it in your body? And I'm only saying that because I feel like people major in things, they go into businesses, they start things, and there's an internal conflict because it's not really the thing that they want to do. But then you see some people own it from the very beginning. And so like, was that your case? Or when did you say like, this is the thing I'm gonna like double down in?
Imposter syndrome is real. And like, it's not until you see all these tools and like how to, you know, put things together today that I realized that all the random things I was good at as a kid kind of come into play later. Yeah. And you don't know that going in. You go in and you're just like, why, you know, I wish I was just good at like fixing cars. Like it's easy. Like, okay, I could just be a mechanic. That's just what I do. And you throw time at that. Right. But it's not that. And a lot of times, you know, like one of my first loves was drawing and painting. And I went through a phase of going to like digital drawing and painting, you know, like on iPads and like Wacom tablets. And like, I had to like go and wrestle with the idea that, oh, that's not real art. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's not the art that's on these walls. That's like digital. It's like, what is that? And like, that exists with music making and songwriting and producing. Like, oh, you know, there, even in the music world, there's, oh, you're a loop maker, or you're a sampler, or you know, do it all from scratch, or you. And so there's so many like nooks and crannies you can get yourself caught up in, and you start believing like, oh, okay, you know, I got to be more than. And I still think, you know, there's elements of that today where I've had to really be like, oh, like with deep reflection, like, okay, that's what this is. And I still think it goes on. Like, I don't think there is one self-actualization moment until maybe you're seeing someone else go through it.
Yeah.
And you realize like, oh, I remember that phase. And that's the only, for me, that's the only time I recognize like, oh, I'm not there anymore type. But I still think it's always gonna go on. I'm not sure if it was the same for you.
Yeah.
No.
I want to preface it because I think I have seen it in you your entire life only because we're related.
Right.
And I always think it's obvious because we got the same last name, Hatcher. But I'll meet people like, oh my God, that's your brother. I'm like, it's the same. There's not a lot of Hatchers out in the world, right? But I feel like, as your big sister only by a year and a half, I remember when you used to draw Ninja Turtles, but you would draw them all the time. To the point where you would get calluses on your fingers.
I was just scratching this callus right now.
Right in your middle one, right?
Right, yep.
And I mean, I wasn't at an age where like, man, that's his gift. But I was just like, it was an insatiable desire at that age where, I mean, not necessarily drawing, but it was like something in the space of creating and also storytelling, because that's what that drawing is, right? So I remember that. But like, what was that for you?
Well, funny enough, I've never thought I was creative because growing up, our mother would always just tell my sister she was creative. And she would never tell me that. So
she would say you were smart.
Yeah, but she just never said creative. So I was just like, I didn't even know what creative was. But I was just like, whatever that is, you're that, and I'm something else. So like, I never thought of. And then you were always doing stuff. You're making stuff and creating things, and so I never thought of myself as creative. I just, just didn't or whatever. And then I love drawing. I love thinking about stuff and imagining stuff, but I just didn't think that I was creative. Even like, I really liked when that in, I guess, media, the term shifted from like artist to creator. Cause like, I never really considered myself like an artist like that. Cause when I thought of artist, I'm thinking somebody has like paintings in museums or something like that. So I was just like, but when you're like a creator, I'm like, I can do that. Like, I know how to create stuff, but I'm trying to think when the big shift for me was. Maybe when I started like making YouTube stuff, because that was like the first time I was just like, I was really intentionally making things and people were responding to it. But I thought more so like from a comedic lens. I was like, okay, I got some juice, or I can do certain things, or I can exist in this comedic space, like I have my own voice. But yeah, as far as like creative, I just never really looked at myself from that lens, you know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, I don't know. I never saw myself as that. Yeah. I do now,
Can I ask, did that make you feel like you had something to prove?
No, not at all. It was just like, it was just this word that my mom would say all the time. And I was just like, that's what my sister is. I didn't even know what it meant. I really didn't. She was just always like, you're so creative. But I saw the things that my sister was doing, and I was like, I'm not doing all that. Like, she was doing a lot. Like, she's doing a lot now, but she's always been doing that, and I didn't want to. So I thought that's what a creative person does. Like, whatever lane I don't want to go through your whole story, but she took a job in what did you work at?
Or Minnesota?
Minnesota, yeah. She just was like, one day she just popped up, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm moving to Minnesota. And I'm like, for what? It's like, I'm working for WNBA. And I was like, how did you? And she was just gone.
It was also, I responded to a Craigslist ad.
Yeah, she used to just do stuff off of Craigslist and just be like,
Felicia. Craigslist?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. She'd be like, man, I'm starting a business. She just, she got like what was it, the scholarship thing?
Yeah.
Got like $100,000 in scholarships, and I'm just like, how you doing all this stuff? I just saw you at the house, just chilling. So to me, that's what when I thought of like creative or creative, that's what I thought it was, you know. And I'm like, I didn't desire to do any of that stuff. So, you know, that's how I kind of framed creativity.
But you also had, when you referenced YouTube, to me, one of the first comedic viral videos before Issa Rae, which was the one that you did when someone literally stole the palm tree out of our parents' yard. Like you could see the drag marks like down the street.
Time out. This tree was in the ground?
The tree was in the ground. Like it at least been like 12.
Was it leaning a little bit?
No.
Yeah, you can see the marks, and they drug the tree. Some people stole these palm trees. And I made a video about it called They Stole My Palm Trees, and it went, I mean, it was, I guess, viral within the number of people that were on YouTube at the time.
Man, it had millions of views. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The palm tree?
Yeah, it was.
My dad was pissed, by the way, because he couldn't understand it.
Was that your only palm tree?
No.
They had just planted them, and then somebody like, they stole them and they like drug them. I guess maybe they drug them
on their truck or something like that.
I would have pointed at the people that installed it.
Yeah, but I made a video about it.
That's
like,
crazy.
That was like one of my first, viral type.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that kind of brings me to a question, because like you kind of pushed back, like it was in the small. I was like, no, that video had millions, and it was before like Issa and like what went viral with that, and then all the creators that came out of that realized that there was this whole other utility, and then also like business strategy from a creator standpoint on YouTube. Like I hadn't seen people do it like that before, and I don't think you realized it. So like you kind of pushed back, right? Which is kind of my question to both of you, given what you have accomplished and what you've done. Like, how does that, do you feel like the validation helped you, like external validation? Or like kind of what's the difference between the external validation and what you feel that like you're starting to have a level of extension with your careers and what you've done? Because I think for creators, it's just different because it's not always tangible.
Well, I mean, I think Jay-Z said it best, like, we don't believe you, you need more people. So, you know, external validation is a good thing, you know, because it confirms that what you're making is connecting with people, you know? So it makes me feel good. Like when you make something, I mean, we all do it to a certain extent for the likes and the follows and all these different things. So, but at the end of the day, you just know that it's, because a lot of times when you're creating, I don't know if you feel this way, you might, but it's just like, it's just kind of like A/B testing.
Yeah.
You're putting something out. You don't really know if it's going to connect with people. You know, a lot of times, the thing that you think that like this is going to shake up the world, and you put it out and it's like crickets. And then the thing that you just throw out that you don't think anything about, and you're just like, whatever. That's the thing that just takes off, and everybody's like, I love this thing, and you're just like, but this is the masterpiece. Right. So you really never really know, you know, and so you do need, to a certain extent, that like I need the people to kind of let me know like what it is that's actually connecting with them.
creatrgd?
My battle was a little different. I feel like I've definitely felt the pressure on, you know, on what you said. I think one guiding principle for me was by this guy, Jony Ive. He designed the iPhone, the iPod, all this stuff, big at Apple. And he said at any given point, you could either be somebody or you can do something. But you can't do both. And like in him saying that, for someone like him to say that, it's like, okay, you know what? We didn't know Jony Ive's name until Steve Jobs passed. You know what I mean? And he came out saying aluminium. You know what I'm saying? Like out in the thing. And you're like, oh, who is that guy? It's like, oh, that's the guy who did it. Wow. It's just like, wow, I wonder if he was that guy before he did it, if he would have done it.
Right.
And like I say that because I feel like it can mess you up in a way, like even checking for the light. And I think like that's a big part of it for me, is like it'll distract me, and I'll forget what I was saying. I'll be like, or just what I'm doing it for. And so for me, I had to, just earlier on, I went through like a muting phase where I was like intentionally running away from lights and accolades and center stage in effort to do something, because I know that by doing something really impactful, it'll solve itself in reverse. And so that's what it's been for me. I still seek that. I'm only here because as new guiding principles I have, which is with public opinion, everything is easier.
Yeah.
And that's just about,
My friend calls that the artist incubation period.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
we need moments where we create without all the extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it comes off as just like, at least this is the way I experienced it, because I was explaining it. I was like, I felt like I went through like, I don't know, it was like 5 to 10 years where I was just making stuff. It just never connected. And I thought we were amazing, but he was like, this was a period like you just needed to get really good at your craft. Like it wasn't about trying to be out there and get all the views and likes. You just had to figure out your own style, figure out the way, your own process. And, so I think all artists need like an incubation period where they just create, without the pressures of trying to go viral and all these different things.
But how long do you sit in the artist incubation period? Because I think some people, they need that moment of stillness, and then they know what to do with it once they get out of it. And then some people, you see their whole lives, they sit in artist incubation and they never launch the thing, right? And I know you and I have had conversations because you're just like, man, even when you were doing Clubhouse, I was like, dude, you were spending hours on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And you built a community of 250,000 comedians.
Yeah.
But I couldn't always reconcile how much time you were spending. I think you see that now, but like, how do people, and even yourselves, like, how have you reconciled, all right, I've incubated it, and that's an important process. But like, when does it switch to a point where like, I can't keep sitting on this because ultimately my art serves other people, but it serves no one if at some point they don't like see it, experience, live in it. So like, how have y'all like reconciled that? Or is there a time frame, or is there something where you like, all right, it's time to cook,
Right.
I think at first you have to want it.
Yeah.
And then once you want it, it'll find you. Meaning like, and I know that's for some people that might be too like woo-woo, but eventually things come to a head. Eventually, 99 degrees turns to 100 degrees boiling, and you reach that activation energy. And like and for me, it was like it pushed. It happened suddenly, and it happened serendipitously. Like I wasn't expecting this, and all of a sudden now you're on Front Street, and you're like, oh, but I know what to do here.
Right.
And then you somehow performed it, and you pulled off the show with no practice, and you're like, damn, how did I do that? And then you realize like, it was just that time. Like it was just, the pot's boiling now. And so I do think that like, you could try and tell yourself like, hey, I need to do this by X date, but it's not your timing. It's really, there's another timeline that I believe we all may not see, but it affects us. And when you're boiling like, and then when you watch that pot, it takes a lot longer to boil. And I think it's very much that. And so it's like, just keep your head down, and eventually it's gonna call you. It's gonna call your attention because it's gonna be Felicia size. It's gonna be Willonius size. Like it'll be the door that only you could walk through. And it's just like my favorite song, Billy Joel, Vienna. Vienna Waits for You is that song. If anybody checked it out, it's a beautiful song. But the whole point is this kid, he's dreaming about going to Vienna, and his whole life is like, I gotta hurry up and get there. Right. And then you realize at the end of the song, like, that place is waiting for you. And like that situation is, it may not even have coalesced in the way that you thought. And so I don't think there is much forcing it. I don't think there is much like, hey, I gotta put my timeline on it. It's God's timing, and if that's too woo-woo for people listening, it just, the pot's gonna boil.
Yeah, God's timing is never woo-woo. What you talking about?
No. I just mean it like, not to me. But so I got, what's crazy? I got family members that, are just more like agnostic, and like I've had to discuss with them like what that is. I've had to like bridge that gap. I'm trying to still bridge that gap with some people because, it's not a one size fits all sometimes. Right. You say that to people and they're like, blank face. Yeah. And like, some people, we all got different faiths.
What about you, Will?
Well, I love woo-woo.
I'm with you.
So you start off by saying that. Can you woo-woo? Anyway, and I also love that we're using food analogies because I think that's the best thing. One of my favorite phrases that when I talk about AI specifically, I like to say that everybody knows how to fry chicken, but not everybody knows how to fry chicken. And, when we talk about like prompting, because you can give somebody the exact same prompt and you're going to get a different output. You know what I'm saying? So, same thing. Like if you're cooking, you got the same recipe, same kitchen, but everybody's going to add, their own flavor to it. But I believe with what you're saying is like, I just think that everything happens within like divine timing, right? So like you can't really force these things to happen. Like, for me, when I was doing Clubhouse stuff, I mean, even early in my career, like I was going viral at my early 20s, 22 or 20, whatever it was. So, but I was never able to cross over. And, when I was doing Clubhouse, I mean, dare I say I had the best audio dramas on the app. I did like 18 of them, all original. And I was like, man, at the time I really wanted to break into TV writing. And when we did Throw Baby the musical, I was just like, this is it. Like, this is the dopest music. Like, I thought it was better than Lion King. We had opera singers, like it was crazy, but things didn't pop off. And then we did, we did the soap opera, The Young and the Thirsty, and we did like 11 episodes of that. But I learned so much from episode 1 of Young and the Thirsty to, what was it? Like episode 11 was like City Girls Up 11 trillion points. And that was a good episode. But like I learned so much about sound design and storytelling, like managing the team and all these different things. So like had I popped off at Throw Baby the musical, I wouldn't have learned all these different things. You know what I'm saying? And that helped me when I started doing AI productions because I understood sound design so much better. So things just need to happen when they happen. So I think what I've been learning is just to be grateful along the way of this process, because as you get more success, you don't get to have those moments of where, man, I got a 12-hour day of just creating. Now I got emails, I got all these other things. So like, just appreciate wherever you're at along this journey, and then, if you stay consistent, probably more success will happen. But I'm very grateful that I didn't pop off at, 24, because maybe I would have been caught up in women or all these different things. So, things everything just needs to take its course,
But, so you have the incubation period that's necessary to the process. I'm also hearing from y'all, then there is just also a process and you gotta like trust the process. But y'all are also both in the business world too, right? And so some people don't respect the process because they're deadlines.
Right.
And they need you to produce, right? But you were saying like, it's not ready yet. Like, what advice do you have to creatives, entrepreneurs of just like the push and pull where in your body, like you can, it's just not ready yet, but like the deadline is on Friday. And that becomes a reputational risk if the deadline isn't met. Like there's that aspect of the business side of things where the alignment just doesn't happen with timing and like your creative process. Like, what do you do?
I mean, you need deadlines, and you going back to like the cooking analogy, you should always be cooking, right? But I think the way I was kind of looking at it is like when you have that moment of like you become like undeniable as an artist, like because you can be making money, not even being good, you know what I'm saying? You can still be doing things and whatnot, but that moment when like the world sees you exactly as you see yourself or always saw yourself, that process just takes time, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to, I feel like with, Tesla talks about this, like he said, like everything is like energy, vibration, and frequencies.
Shout out.
Right? So you have to align yourself with that. And sometimes that's not it's not a thing that you can just force. Like you have to put in your 10,000 hours to like actually learn storytelling, sound design, understanding the nuances of music that you can't get from a chat GPT. Like you can only get that through hard work, failing over and over again. And like, okay, now I finally cracked the code. I understand this thing. Now I'm at this level, so, but the business side, you just, if you got to eat and you got to make deadlines, like you have to figure out a mechanism that allows you to work and be efficient and be able to deliver whatever deliverables you have.
Yeah.
I think that's when the last innings, the final innings is when it all comes together. And if there was no, final innings, it probably wouldn't come together. And so I think it's one of those things where it's a factor, but I would hope I think most creators would agree, but for me, it's like this for me at least. I need that deadline because it's really the last couple hours that you really, all the riffing and like just, throwing random things together, you start to be like, okay, this comes first, then this, I'll take this out and then this is there. And it's only that deadline that forces that. And so for me, I don't think it's one or the other, or, I don't think they're on opposite ends. I think they're sequential. Like this produces that deadline produces great results versus the deadline can inhibit great results.
Yeah.
I love the deadlines. I think that's why you do hackathons at all?
Man, you know what's crazy? The only thing I've ever hacked was this secret application that Google did back when I was in high school. And it was a hidden application, man. They had this like Mona Lisa, like Achi code in like the web inspector. And I had to, it was a test. And I had to learn how to code to pass the test and that they give you. And so I've never done a hackathon, but I hacked that.
I highly recommend hackathons for creators. I've been doing them, like I do the MIT Reality Hackathon every year in January, and then this year I think I've done maybe like 12 or 15 so far. But to your point of just like the deadlines, I think hackathons are great because they make, you have a constrained time period that you have to build something that you've never built before, and it's literally just pass or fail. There's no in between. There's no moral prize and be like, hey, I tried my best. It's just like you either did it or you didn't. But it stretches you in a way where after you leave there, you're not the same because you're just like, now I have a new way to approach my work. I thought that this thing needed to take me 2 days to create, and I realized I could do it in 5 hours. So now I have a whole new workflow and a whole new approach to my craft. So yeah, hackathons are.
You did those growing up?
I just started doing them.
For real?
Yeah, like in the last 4 years.
Wow. Hackathons.
This year I've been going crazy with them though.
Creative God, you are a music strategist, producer, techie. You are your own man as a creative and accomplished, but you also work side by side with Timbaland in partnership. What is the most recent project that just made you say, whoa?
I would say it was one that caught me by surprise, and it was actually connected to your point about how do you know when the pot's boiling. And it was something that, obviously I've been doing stuff with Tim for a while, and it was something that was, uniquely positioned at me. And it was this Popeyes commercial. It was my first commercial placement. Yeah. And it was this song that myself and my guy, Brandon, who's my songwriting partner, we did this song together, and that Popeyes wanted. They want us to do a rap beef dissing McDonald's. And, we leveraged some AI tools, but it's the same workflows that you would use before, just a little bit different. But that one kind of came out of nowhere, and it had something that now I'm seeing like, okay, you know what? There's something to this. And, I found out Luther Vandross he started his whole music career off of commercial music. Yep. And then we know the story behind Ba-da-ba-ba-ba and Arby's with Pusha T and all these, everybody's done something. So I'm like, okay, Popeyes. That was really cool. And it was just writing that, the rap beef dissing McDonald's.
Right.
Yeah. You have your own rap beef story.
Oh yeah, BBL Drizzy. I actually responded back to Creator God sent me his song dissing McDonald's, and I dissed Popeyes back on McDonald's behalf.
Is this a thing?
I can't even comment. They might get mad at me.
Oh, they can't. Yeah, but I dissed Popeyes as McDonald's. And then I messaged McDonald's and they didn't message me back. So I dissed McDonald's as Chick-fil-A. And I might diss Chick-fil-A just in case. Well, we'll see. Maybe it's churches. But anyway, BBL Drizzy. That was probably the biggest moment in my life of just I guess impact. But it's always funny to me because, when I made that song. I was doing an AI film hackathon. So it was like a 48 hour. I took a break. Literally, I was like an hour 40, and I was like, let me take a break. And BBL Drizzy was trending because Rick Ross and Drake were going at it, and Rick Ross said that Drake had fake abs, so he started calling him BBL Drizzy. And then so I made that, but I didn't think that it would go viral at all, you know, because like I've been making songs based on things that were trending for years. Like, you know, I had a SoundCloud. My SoundCloud has probably like maybe close to 200 something songs. If the song had 100 views, like 99 of them are probably me. You know what I'm saying? So I would always, like, something would trend, I would throw it on Twitter and then just like keep it moving. So I thought this was just another, you know, thing that would happen, and it just kind of ended up blowing up. But the project I'm most excited about is BBL Drizzy the musical.
Mm-hmm.
So the BBL Drizzy the musical is actually a full narrative production. The reason I'm excited about it is because it's a planetarium dome experience.
Yeah.
And I love going to domes. I think that it's super dope to be in these immersive environments. But the thing that I feel that's missing from domes are just like our stories.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, Black and brown people attending domes, creating in domes, like we're not really doing that yet. And then on top of that, like a lot of the dome experiences are kind of like just like a lot of like visuals and like with music, but no like full narratives like with actors. So I've always wanted to be able to create in that space, and now I kind of have opportunity. And then so I, you know, took the BBL Drizzy name and kind of slapped the musical on top of it because it's a lot of original music.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, when this project comes into fruition and you know, we have a good team around it, I think that that's going to kind of revolutionize the way people think about dome experiences. So that has me like really excited because, you know, it's just an opportunity to like just cook.
Immersive experience, yeah.
Yeah, in a different way. So that's really, really cool for me.
But you have to go back, because I don't think you fully unpacked like BBL Drizzy, right? Pharrell and Ron oftentimes talk about like the song Happy was part of like a trifecta of like 3 hits for them. But like you saw what the globe did with Happy, right? Like everybody was singing it, I think, to exhaustion, to the point where I don't even think we mentioned the word happy like internally in our organization, right? But like I felt the same thing happen with BBL Drizzy. Like every time you went on, it was someone with their own iteration of BBL Drizzy. Like people performed it at or sung it at their weddings. Like it was just a really fascinating phenomenon, but also in a moment where like the world was falling apart, right? And I think both of you, what you've done with music is like, it's the beat, but it's also like the soundtrack to people's lives.
Right.
And I don't know if y'all look at your work in the way that you do, but like you have to unpack like that cultural phenomenon of a rap beef turned into so much more for people. Like, what did you feel? What did you see? What surprised you?
Probably just the power of a BBL. And how life-changing it can be, because that's really what it is, right? Like
for the people that get them, or like
I mean, it's just a BBL. Like
for both, right?
You get a BBL, your life changes. Like literally, my life was like pre-BBL, just comedian trying to figure it out. Post-BBL, you know, you doing all these different things. I get to be on the So Ambitious podcast. But you know, I think I kind of just looked at that moment as and it happened when I went to I was in LA when BBL Drizzy popped off. I was at the Netflix as a Joke festival, and I remember flying out there, and I remember praying like before I got there. I was like, because of LA, it's LA, and the way people in the entertainment, specifically comedy, they tend to act, where if they don't really know you, they don't know your accomplishments and all these different things, they can kind of try to make you feel small and sun you in a way, right? And at that time, I had just did Wired magazine, and I was just like, I was kind of on a high with AI. Like I was starting to buzz. I had a couple videos go viral, and I remember just praying to God. I was like, God, please, just don't let me just have something pop off while I'm here, because like I just don't want to. The year's been going so good. I don't want to feel small in this comedy space or whatever around these comedians. And then, you know, I think like 5 days later, it was funny. This is why like this whole BBL Drizzy, it really strengthened my faith in God more than anything. The first 5 days I was sitting there and I was like, man, I'm running out of money. Like, this is crazy. And then like, I remember driving and someone was like, just stay. Cause I was like, I need to get back home. You know, I don't need to be out here. I didn't plan this out right. Cause that whole year I was just traveling, just doing stuff, like trying to go to every AI event. And then literally the next day, Snoop Dogg posts my song on his Instagram. The day after that, Metro Boomin posts BBL Drizzy. The day after that, Will Smith posts one of my songs. So it was just like one thing after the other. But then the reason the relationship I had with like just this song, the day that they closed the festival out at Netflix's Joke, they played BBL Drizzy.
Yeah.
So everybody's like singing it and laughing and carrying on. And like, I'm just sitting there watching everybody. And Masego did a rendition of it during his set. And nobody knows that I made it. And I'm just sitting there and I was like, I realized that like, I think God just chooses people to be a vessel, to kind of bring things to the world. And I was saying like this thing that, you know, I was chosen to kind of bring, it brought so much joy to the world. And then there were people that have, you know, they literally launched their careers off a comedic song. Like this, I don't know if you know the group down in Miami, they did like a cover of BBL Drizzy. It went super viral and now they were like touring, but just because they did a cover of their songs, but they're really dope. But you know, I just realized that like, you know, sometimes things are like bigger than you, right?
Yeah,
you just, you're just the vessel that gets to bring this thing here. And then, but it needed to manifest and because it serves a bigger purpose, right? So, and it sounds really funny because you're like, you know, it's the BBL's, it's bigger than me, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, I try not to think too much of myself or get too caught up in everything because I just think that I'm just really blessed, you know what I'm saying? And I'm so happy that I got to be chosen to be able to do these things. And I don't want to ever be arrogant to be like, it's me, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, I think it's just God to just allow me to stay creative, give me help so I can just stay consistent. Yeah, so I know that's a long-winded answer, but I'm just, you know, this whole, everything that's happened, I'm just very grateful that I was able to be aware that like, okay, AI is a wave. So lean in. There was a lot of fear initially when I even thought about touching AI because I was like, I didn't want to get blackballed by the WGA and all these different things. So I just try to stay as consistent as possible and then not think too much of myself. I'm just like, I just got to do my work and then everything else that needs to happen happens.
You need the BBL is bigger than me on a t-shirt.
Okay,
like
that'll be next thing I work on.
It just has to happen.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I like that. Or it's bigger than the BBL.
Both of you do work with like all the tools, right? What you're doing with like energy, the work that y'all are doing around monetization around creators, what you've done with like championing creative rights so that they actually get like you pass, not legislation, but like whatever it is, like you literally change the legal trajectory for creators. I don't know if you get.
That's understated. I just want to say it. Like, that's how I preface Willonius when people don't know Willonius. Like I was telling you, I just told my barber, I was like, man, y'all got to know because what you've done, it was something like what you've done with BBL Drizzy is going to be stuff that people are going to point to because out of that whole situation, even on the music business side, you were the only one that was able to get publishing for that song. Metro couldn't even monetize that song because you made the original. You wrote, not even just the making of it, but on the writing side, you came up with the phrase BBL Drizzy and you wrote the song that was sampled from it. And so when it comes to just like music publishing and like what the future of that looks like with all these new tools, like BBL Drizzy is one of those things that like, okay, that's a gray area example that didn't really offend anybody. And I just think that's understated because a lot of people don't know on the music business side how to touch it. They don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. They're like, hey, it looks open source to me and all these other things. But it's like, actually, I said this in this our most recent Rolling Stone article. It was about songwriting and how they have all the powers and how songwriters have all the power. And like your case is one of those exact examples where it's like, hey, you as a songwriter on the publishing side are the only one that can really stand to receive royalties from those sorts of things. So it's understated, but that's how
if there's ever like a Ivy League course on BBLs, that'll make me.
You need the Harvard case study.
There you go.
Well, I did have a one-man show called How BBL Changed My Life. that I did in New York. So I've been talking about it. But I think it just goes back to just, utilizing these tools. Like we have master level tools now with AI, and then we can just kind of just choose how we want to show up and exist in the world now. So to take a page out of your book, it allows you to be uninterrupted, just by like leaning in, to these tools. So it's dope. I mean, I didn't set out to change anything. I was just trying to just use these tools, to the best of my ability.
Everything that you guys have done to inform people, educate people, help them figure out like the monetization strategy around that, there's still people that push back. And I'm like always, a mentor of mine always says, like, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Damn.
And I feel like that is what I'm seeing around so much of the conversation around AI, right? Like you get the people that get it, they know what to do with it. And then you have a lot of people that are questioning it, right? And some of what they're questioning is valid, because what does this mean? What does this look like? Is it fully representative of us? Are we behind the scenes building it so it's representative and safe and ethical? Like those are valid things. But then like also wealth has a need for speed. Innovation has a need for speed. Who is giving you the most pushback? Is it like the music people that feel like you need to be purist? Is it just people that just don't understand the utility of the tool? Like where are you seeing the pushback, and what should the conversation be around?
Let me take that one, because I think, we've made people love the music and hate the music. And in art world, that means, it's polarizing, right? So great art is polarizing. And so I feel like it's in that area, but zooming out, the music business has always resisted innovation, at least as long as I've been alive. And so this, to me, if I really had to follow it all the way to the end, is another example of resisting innovation. And I think, like, to me, I saw this term in the comments was like, stop being such a technophobe. And I was like, technophobe, that's a good one. Like fear of technology. Yeah. Like I'm gonna use that. Like, that, because to me, I feel like there isn't really a head in the sand approach to this. Like you cannot do that. You just can't, it can't be the option, even though it might be a valid option. And so I see it around the people who fear it, but the same way that, there used to be a time where people would have session musicians that would come in and play the musical parts. And then, the sampling machines came out, the Korg Tritons and the MPCs and the ASRs and all these tools back when Tim was and Pharrell were starting and even before. It was just different versions of it, and today is no different. And I just think that we may not see ourselves in the future of it, and I think that might be the scariest part. But I would just say that it just changed. Like the only thing constant is change, so we can't fight it.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen pushback. I really don't pay attention to it too much. So it doesn't really bother me at all. I really don't, because that's hard for me to answer, because I really don't think much about people that just are. I guess it all depends on like what their fear is around. You know what I'm saying? When I first started out,
are the fears valid?
Yeah, there's definitely valid fears, just because like, AI has the potential to, it is going to change our lives dramatically. And just based on, who's like involved and just like human nature, what people might potentially do with these tools, that can be somewhat like a little scary. But like, I just try to reframe it and just try to tell people like, think about like what you could potentially do with these tools versus like what it's going to take away from you. So that's why I tend to like focus on. There's always going to be that resistance, just because like, it's something new. It is, and as it pertains to technology, I was talking to Warrington Hudlin of the Hudlin brothers, and he said something very interesting that really made me think about it. He was like, when silent movies, when actors started talking, people were really scared during that time period, because you had all these silent actors, but that they maybe they had weird voices, and now they were like, we're going to be out of a job because I can't talk or whatever. Like people don't want to hear my voice. so anytime a new technology, same thing what happened with television, like people that were, making radio plays or whatnot, they were just like, you're killing our industry.
Yeah.
So anytime new technology comes about, there's going to be this disruption, and there's going to be people that get scared, and there's pushback. AI is a little bit different just because it is, again, it's going to change our world in a very dramatic, and we've seen all the different sci-fi movies. So innately, subconsciously, we have this fear, like, it's a Terminator, is this going to be the Matrix, or, it's about, are we going to be living in, Black Mirror, Westworld type environment? So, but the only way the best thing you can do right now is just not put your head in the sand. It's just like learn the tools, learn what's possible. Hopefully you can run up a bag before, things.
Yeah.
But I do think it's something about I think there's something to be learned in our cultures is around like how to stay in the weeds of what is about to happen. Like now that we're here, okay, we got to think ahead.
Yeah. And
like we got to really, because there's people, in, an MIT dorm right now that are probably working on the next breakthrough thing. And it's like, we got to be friends with them. We got to go ahead and read the same books they're reading. Like what's your course curriculum? Like I don't know. Like what questions do you know to ask that I don't even know to ask? Like sometimes we don't even know. All I'm saying is like, there's a resourcefulness that is going to be more important now than ever going forward.
I was saying that we have to just make it very cool to be an AI. You know what I'm saying? Like lately I've been just telling people, well, two things. One, no more panels. I was like, we need to never have another panel as it pertains to AI. It just needs to be building.
Yeah.
So if we have opportunities where it's 20, 30, whatever amount of us in there, give everybody a laptop or phone, whatever, and like, let's actually build something. Because this is the best opportunity you have right now in AI is speed. And then, so no more panels. Those are done. And then we have to like reframe, we talk about our communities, like we have to stop the conversations of constantly saying like, we don't want to get left behind. Like it has to be like reframed to like, Black people are killing it in AI. Like we're the masters of AI, whether it's true or not, but that needs to be the conversation. So we started to almost like reprogram ourselves to being like, oh, you the same way we look at like a Black person, like you 7 foot and you can't dunk. Like, we almost like shame them. It almost has to be like that with AI. It's like, damn, bro, like you not up on the newest AI tools. Like you don't use ChatGPT. Like, so they like, man, I have to embrace this moment. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in the AI revolution. Like it's only going to get crazier. So anybody that's not having conversations and community around it, like you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. creatrgd, you said it when you and Tim were on a panel. Like the only way to combat all of this is build as fast as you possibly can. What are you guys' tech stack? Like what are y'all playing with? What are you building on the AI side? AI or music?
Yeah, so AI music, just entertainment in general is affected by all these generative media tools. And I've always said online, like we're competing with cat videos. Like no matter what you're doing, even as a human, like whatever content you're making, like
because it's attention arbitrage, right?
Exactly. And it's just like, that cat, it's hilarious. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have a cat, like I get it. But we're competing against cat videos. And I say that to say, there's a trend with now these tools can help us get our imagination out. And so the limit is not just in what is real. Yeah. The limit is now extends to what's unreal.
Right.
And, that means that there are new just formats of entertainment that haven't even been conceived of. Like the other day, there's this tool, the tool that makes a music video and a song at the same time. Like, what is that? How are you making a song and a music video in one? Like, that's just the next mixtape might be a video. Like people, we don't know. The formats are changing. So I say all that to say, we're trying to build a representation label or whatever the future, we don't like to say record label, but we're trying to figure out what these new tools mean in terms of IP building. So in the concept about having something that's real, like a human artist, there are people that are unreal, that are making music and entertaining people in a way that isn't traditional. Like it's not a band in front of a camera. It's, there's shout out Space God. Like Space God did a collab with us with one of our virtual artists, Tata, who, everybody tends to know her name. It took a lot of, it was a big media moment. But, you know, Space God is a digital alien from Atlanta. He's a YN alien, R.I.P. Zarlak.
Man.
You know, he's got his whole lore. Yo, it's hilarious. He's hilarious. He's hilarious, but he's not, you know, he's not based in this world, literally. Like he's out of this world. And he's using his persona and who he is and using he's taking his persona and using things like AI to make generative versions of himself, which is just hilarious. But he's so committed to the point where he dress up in a gray alien mask and spray paint his arms gray and show up as Space God. And, you know, he wants to make music and he wants to, you know, he's dropping music and he's doing interviews and he's doing shows and he's getting booked off of this digital character. Wow. And we're looking at this phenomenon of not just a Space God, but there's Ja Monkey, which is a Rasta monkey. You've seen him, you know what I'm saying? Like we got tracks for him. You know what I mean? Like they got like, they're just moments you're like, okay, this is going to be a new form of funny. And how do we represent these people? A lot of these people are just organically creating and they haven't thought about monetizing. They haven't thought about, you know, if they even want to get in front of the curtain and present themselves to brands or, you know, what's the pathway to merch or, you know, ticket sales or anything like that. A lot of people haven't thought that far. Right now, it's emerging on the internet where it's just like, okay, so what is that? So when we create an unreal artist like a Tata and say, hey, like, you know, it's jarring because people are like, what? That's not real? How they gonna tour? I ain't never seen a USB stick tour. And it's like, okay, well, you ever heard of Hatsune Miku? No? Right. You ever heard of like, you know, insert, you know, virtual pop idol, you know, China idol or J-pop, K-pop.
Right.
Artists, like digital artists have been a thing. The Gorillas, you know what I mean? Like, let's not talk about that. And you know what's crazy? Did you see that? One of their hit songs was a template from a keyboard. They didn't even make it.
Wow.
Like people give like AI artists like, oh, you didn't make that. They literally pressed play on a preset and that was their biggest hit.
Damn.
And that was like back then. And so it's like, I think people just ultimately, if you over explain the entertainment, it's a bad joke. And so like, I think working backwards at saying, hey, this is entertaining. So how do we build stuff around that? And like, what do these new tools help us do? That's a big part of what we're doing on just the AI IP side with this company, Stage Zero, that Tim, myself, and this gentleman, Rocky, have created. But it's really to just wrap our heads around, but then also wrap, you know, original ways to complete the circle. Like there's new ways that people that don't know how to connect their music with, you know, their entertainment vertical or just original, you know, AI tools that you can use or workflows that you can use to get your thing off. So I know it's long-winded, but you know, we're really on the field. It's really happening out there. And the next thing might not be a real artist. Like there was, you know, there's and it's not the only thing. I don't want to be like, that's the only way. You guys give up your act, go home and just quit. It's not that. It's just in addition to. It's like, hey, you know, like I said, we're competing with cat videos. There's the AI video going viral of these bunnies jumping on a trampoline. And I'm sitting there looking like, man, that's a great way to sell trampolines. Like, man, somebody should, you know, figure out how to be like link in bio for the trampoline. And, you know,
everyone has a license to reimagine right now.
Amen.
Every single person. Will, what's your tech stack?
ChatGPT. I would go I think you need a large language model. Whatever it needs to be, that should just be part of like your everyday, same way you use Gmail, same way you use your phone, you should have a large language model. I prefer ChatGPT. Claude is amazing as well. But then using like UDO for music, using VO3 for videos. Kling is also really dope. Midjourney is the GOAT when it comes to making AI images. Notebook LM is becoming one of my favorite tools. Notebook LM allows you to like upload any document and it creates a audio podcast. Google's really just killing it right now. They just dropped Opal, but NAN for AI agents. And what else am I using? I feel like that's pretty much it. Like, at least as far as what I do. Yeah, ChatGPT, UDO, Midjourney, NAN, and Claude. Those are probably, and VO3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a fascinating conversation. And I feel like you two, as we close out, are two people that are not limited by your imagination in a world that a lot of people still are, right? But with that, who would you be, or who are you uninterrupted by your imagination? Like, what would the world look like if absolutely nothing stood in the way of you guys, like achieving success, building the next thing? What would that look like for you from a legacy standpoint?
Legacy standpoint, I'm on a mission to build the future of creator infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what that looks like, if I had my way, it would be, giving power back to the creators. I have been, in the seat of just, making no money off of what you love making.
Yeah.
And I hate that feeling. And, I think that there's so many tools out there that I could see put together that would solve that problem, or at least make a difference, I should say, to someone who was like me, trying to figure out, hey, how am I gonna, take all the random things I'm good at and make something out of it. And so uninterrupted, the future of creator infrastructure, I could see all the moving parts put together, and I think now is the time before things change and again.
Yeah, I love it. King Willonius?
Yeah, I think uninterrupted, I'd probably be like a mix of Batman, Iron Man.
Man, you got the coolest answers, bro. Oh my God.
I'm gonna come back to you.
Come on, man. Can I re-up? This is something
Absolutely,
fair.
absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
man. We going there with it.
It'll be like Batman meets Iron Man meets
Man.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman?
Yeah, it's
All
like
right.
a combination. It's all because I like to build stuff. I like to beat up criminals at night. No, I was just joking. But then the reason I say Harriet Tubman, Batman and Iron Man, because like Iron Man is like innovation to the max. Batman is just, if anybody comic book fans out there, Batman with prep is, you said it all. Like he's just, figure things out. You know what I'm saying? I love to just like be able to tinker and figure things out. But then I say Harriet Tubman because, she really cared about the people and making sure that even though she had a level of freedom, she always came back and made sure that she brought them back with her, right? So the stuff that I'm doing in New York right now with AI and the culture is just making sure that it's my way of tiding and making sure that we're teaching, Black and brown people about AI and making sure that they know what the tools are, they know how to use them. I'm teaching them how to fish. And I'm like, hey, these things have done amazing things for my life. And I'm showing you what they could potentially do for you. So I say those three people because they're just a couple of, if I was uninterrupted, that's exactly who I would be. I'd be building stuff and then I'd be making sure people have the tools and I'm leading them to the promised land. So maybe Batman, Harriet Tubman, Iron Man, and Moses.
Okay. Creator God, close it out. What are you adding to that?
I can't beat that, man. Nah, that's unfair. You and Moses?
And Moses.
I gotta be a prophet to beat what you talking about?
I thought it just came to me at the end.
I don't want to upstage Will because I think.
Go ahead, man.
I think ultimately,
uninterrupted right now. I'm talking.
Man, uninterrupted. I feel like I go to the villains, man. It's so bad because now I'm thinking like I have to be that, but
You can turn the villain good.
No, but that's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think the villains just have the most leverage sometimes, and so I'm like, okay, but if you had the leverage, you could do the good thing. You could do the right thing if you got the right leverage.
Who was your villain?
Ooh, man, what's crazy? It'd be like a Lex Luthor, but like, there's some like Martian Manhunter in there. I don't know if there's DC folks in here, but or some like Dr. Fate, or like what's the other one that did the thing?
Which one?
With the hand, and he make the circles, and you could walk through the portals.
Oh, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah, on the Marvel side, something like that. I don't know. Like I said, Will's answer was better, but ultimately, uninterrupted, I'm looking like I'm plotting and scheming. But my ultimate goal of turning the keys over to the world, because I feel like it belongs there. I just think sometimes the good guys go the wrong way about it. I'm like, you guys, you got main character energy, but. You
Right,
know,
right.
I don't know if that closes it out. But either way, we'll save it for another time.
Well, Creator God and King Willonius, I think you said it best. Y'all have created the keys. You're sharing the keys, you're sharing the codes, and what y'all have done in just the creator space, pushing people to imagine bigger than ever before, and using music and technology as like you being the vessel for it to open up so many opportunities for other people. I thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for being on the So Ambitious podcast.
No, seriously.
Thank you.